रिश्ता बन जाए प्यारा। मुरली अमृत की धारा है धारा, जो देती दुखों से किनारा। मुरली अमृत की धारा है धारा, जो देती दुखों से किनारा।
Om Shanti. Good morning. So we listen to Baba's Murli for today, November 26th, 24. The essence is, sweet children, you are the children of the Trimurti Father. You have to remember your three activities: establishment, destruction, and sustenance. So, sweet children, you are the children of the Trimurti Father. You have to remember your three activities: establishment, destruction, and sustenance. Just as Shiv Baba is called Trimurti Father, which is the father of the Trimurtis, Brahma, Vishnu, Shankar. So he's carrying out, Shiv Baba is carrying out the establishment, sustenance, and destruction through Brahma, Vishnu, Shankar, the Trimurti deities. So Baba says, just as his task is to establish, create, and establish, sustain, and destroy. In the same way, we also should remember that these are our activities as well. So what do we create? What do we destroy? What do we sustain? So we create the virtues in us. We sustain those virtues in us. And by this process, we are destroying the weaknesses and the vices in us. The question is, what damage is caused by the severe illness of body consciousness? What damage is caused by the severe illness of body consciousness? Answer. First point, those who are body conscious have jealousy. Because of jealousy, they become like salt water with each other. They are not able to do service with love. They keep burning inside. Second, they remain careless. Maya keeps deceiving them a great deal. Whilst making effort, they stop studying because they lose hope and get tired. Third, because of body consciousness, their hearts are not clean. Because their hearts are not clean, they are unable to climb into the Father's heart. And fourth, their moods go off and their faces change. These are the 4 illnesses of body consciousness, 4 major illnesses. If you think about it, that when we are in soul consciousness, we will only use the virtues. But when we are in body consciousness, all of these illnesses come. These weaknesses will come. So another point of checking could be, when I feel a certain way, when I feel jealous, when I feel unhappy, sorrow, when I feel dislike, when I feel like mood swings, when I feel disheartenment, immediately I know that I am in body consciousness. So then I can go back and check, what do I need to change here? Where is this body consciousness coming from? So I can work on it and change it. So today Baba is talking about jealousy. He's talking about carelessness. He's talking about, the heart not being clean. Then he's talking about mood swings, mood off. And these are all very common traits in today's world. So this is all because of body consciousness. Om Shanti. Are you only remembering the Father, or are you also remembering anything else? You children should remember the three tasks of establishment, destruction, and sustenance, because they take place simultaneously. It's all happening at the same time. For instance, if someone is studying law, in order to become a lawyer, he understands that he will become a lawyer and then follow the legal profession. He would sustain the subject of law. Whatever someone is studying, he has the aim of continuing with that in the future. You understand that you are now carrying out the task of construction. You are establishing a pure new world, and yoga is very essential for that. It is only by having yoga that you souls who have become impure will become pure. You will become pure and then rule the kingdom in the pure world. This should enter your intellects. This is the most elevated examination of all examinations and the most elevated study of all studies. Whether someone is studying in law school or medical school or engineering college or wherever, Baba says this study that we study now in this godly school is the most elevated study, because we are carrying the sanskars of the study for our next birth as well. And this study is actually helping us reform our character, reform our behavior, reform our attitude. And all, that they talk about this in the world nowadays, that any kind of promotion or any kind of, growing up the ladder in an organization is 90% your attitude and 10% of your hard work. If I am able to fix my attitude, I can fix everything. And that's what this godly study teaches us. So Baba says, there are many different types of study that are taught to human beings by human beings. Those studies are for this world alone. After having studied, they receive the fruit of that here. And so after having studied here, they get a job here. So they receive the fruit of that study here. You children understand that you receive the fruit of this unlimited study in the new world. That new world is not far away. It is now the confluence age. You are to rule the kingdom in the new world. Whilst you are sitting here, your intellect should have this remembrance. It is by having remembrance of the Father that you souls will become pure. You must also remember that when you have become pure, this impure world will definitely be destroyed. Because when my energy is of purity, and when there is a collective energy of all of us of purity, this world will have to go through that transformation. Because the elements now are also impure. So the elements will not be able to sustain that purity. So there has to be a shift. And that's the word destruction that Baba talks about. So Baba says, not everyone will become pure. There are very few of you who have that power. You belong to the sun and moon dynasties, number-wise, according to your power. Power is needed for everything. This is godly might, and it is called the might of the power of yoga. All others are physical might. This is spiritual might. Cycle after cycle, the Father says, O children, remember me alone. Remember the Father, the Almighty Authority. He alone is the Father. By remembering Him, you souls will become pure. These are very good aspects, and they have to be imbibed. These aspects will not sit in the intellects of those who don't have the faith that they have taken 84 births. These aspects will not sit in intellects of those who don't have faith that we have taken 84 births, that we have gone through this entire cycle. I entered the cycle as a deity. I came down the ladder slowly as I, went through the cycle. And now I'm at, I reached a point where I became impure. From starting as pure deities, I became impure. And now it's time for me to rejuvenate, to recharge myself. So those who came in a Satopradhan world, that is the pure world, are now in a Tamopradhan world. They are the ones whose intellects will quickly develop faith. If you don't understand anything, you should ask. If you understand clearly, you will be able to remember the Father. If you don't understand, you are not able to remember Him. This is a straightforward matter. You souls who were Satopradhan have now become Tamopradhan. Those of you who have doubts and ask how you can understand that you have taken 84 births, or how can you know that you claim the inheritance from the Father in the previous cycle, will not pay full attention to the study. So, faith brings victory, doubts will bring me down. So, if I have doubt that, oh, did I really go through the cycle? Did I really study this knowledge? So, Baba says, will not be able to pay attention to this study. It is understood that it is not in your fortune. You didn't understand in the previous cycle either. This is why you are unable to stay in remembrance. This study is for the future. If some souls do not study, it is understood that they did not study cycle after cycle and that they only passed by a few marks. Many fail in a school. They pass number-wise. This too is a study. Everyone here will pass number-wise. Those who are clever will study and continue to teach others. The Father says, I am the servant of you children. This is the humility of God. He says, I am your servant. I've come here to serve you. Do we have the same kind of humility to say that I am your servant? I'm here to serve you. And if you think about it, that being on this godly path, we as instruments are serving everyone else. So we are actually servants. So if I have that kind of a humility, that God says, I am your servant, do I have the same humility? That I am a godly servant. So I'm serving God, I'm also serving others. Children also say we too are servants. You have to benefit each and every brother and sister. The Father benefits you and you then have to benefit others. You have to explain to everyone, remember the Father and your sins will be cut away. The more you give this message to many others, the greater a messenger you will become. They are called Maharathis or horse soldiers. Those who are foot soldiers become part of the subjects. If you ever seen a battlefield, no, so in the first row, like in the first few, there are foot soldiers, then there are horse riders, and then there are elephant riders. Now, so based on your status, you are either on the foot or on the horse or on the elephant. So Baba says, in the same way, when he calls Maharathis, he's calling those who are doing great service. Maharathis are those who are imbibing, this godly knowledge, transforming their lives and helping others transform. So they are like higher, no? So elephants are higher. So they're like seated on the elephant. And not literally, but what it means is their status is higher, or their stage is also higher. So those who are foot soldiers become part of the subjects. You children can understand who will become wealthy. This knowledge should remain in your intellects. You children have become instruments for doing service. You have given your lives for doing service, and so you will also claim a status accordingly. Such children don't have any worries about anyone else. Even yesterday, Baba pointed this out, that just look at yourself, just think about reforming yourself. Don't look at others, don't worry about what will happen to them or the other. Such children don't have any worries about anyone else. Human beings have hands and feet. They are not tied. You can keep yourselves free. So why should you trap yourselves in bondage? Why not take nectar from the Father and give the donation of nectar to others? You are not like sheep or goats that someone could tie you up. In the beginning, how did you children free yourselves? You cried, screamed, and caused so much distress, and then just stayed there. You said, we have no worries. Do we want to establish heaven or sit and do some other work? So, in the early days of the yagya, when when the mothers they received this godly knowledge, they wanted to free themselves from bondage, but the families had tied them up, literally shut them and locked them up. They didn't allow them to go and listen to this knowledge. So in the beginning, they would just they would cry and scream and yell and all that, but nothing of that helped them. So Baba says, then later on, what did they do? They just stayed there. They started changing their mindset. They became silent. They became more peaceful, and they started serving through their thoughts. So Baba says, you became intoxicated with the spiritual intoxication of belonging to the Lord and Master. You are the ones who are intoxicated with the Lord and Master. You know that you are receiving from the Lord and Master. The Lord and Master is teaching you. He has been given many names. Some names are very sweet. You are now you are now intoxicated with the Lord and Master. The Father gives you very simple directions. Your intellects also understand that you will definitely become Satopradhan and become the masters of the world by remembering the Father. This is the concern you should have. You should remember the Father in every breath. You are sitting in front of Him. When you go outside, you forget. There isn't as much intoxication outside as there is here. You forget everything. You shouldn't forget. However, if it is not in your fortune, you forget even whilst you are sitting here. Arrangements are being made for some children to do service in museums and different villages. The Father says you should do service quickly for whatever time you have. However, you cannot hurry the drama. We cannot push the drama. Time moves at its own pace. I cannot move time, but I can move myself to move at a faster pace to match with time. Hmm? So the Father says there should be such machinery that things are ready as soon as you touch them. The Father continues to explain all of this. Maya catches hold of very good children very firmly by their noses and ears. Maya brings many storms to those who consider themselves to be Mahavirs. So even though I know that my stage is good, or I'm doing good seva, or I'm called to do seva or whatever, but I should still maintain that humility, because the moment I have the arrogance of the service I do, Maya will catch hold of me. So they then don't care about anyone. They hide everything. Internally, their hearts are not truthful. Those who have true hearts claim a scholarship. If there is anything devilish in their hearts, they cannot continue. By having a devilish heart, you make your boat sink. Everyone needs Shiv Baba. You have visions of everything. It was Shiv Baba who created Brahma. By remembering Shiv Baba, you can become like the deities. Baba knows that Maya is very powerful. She bites you like a mouse so that you don't even realize it. Maya is like a very clever mouse. Maharathis too have to be very cautious. They themselves don't realize when Maya makes them fall and makes them like salt water. Because when a mouse bites, you don't come to know. The mouse bites very, very subtly. But we understand the bite after it has happened, after we get the pain. So, in the same way, Maya will bite like that in a very subtle way. And even Mahavirs or people who are on that stage or they think they are very elevated will not come to know that Maya is biting them. They will think that, oh, this is how it is, or my way is the right way. Huh? But that's what Maya is making them do. And Baba says, you should understand that by becoming like salt water, you will not be able to do the Father's service. You will keep burning inside. So, becoming like salt water means getting jealous of someone else's seva, getting jealous of someone else's growth, uh, not letting others go ahead of you. Because now I'm at a position where I can control. I will tell you what seva you should do. All that comes out of jealousy. So Baba says, jealousy is burning inside. It is because of body consciousness that you burn inside. As yet, you souls haven't created that stage. There isn't the power of remembrance. That is why you must remain very cautious. Maya is very clever. When you are on this battlefield, Maya doesn't leave you alone. She finishes half or three quarters of you, and you don't even realize it. Many good new ones stop studying and stay at home. Maya also attacks those who are very good and well known. Although they do understand, they become careless. They instantly become like salt water over small matters. The father explains it is because of body consciousness that you become like salt water. You deceive yourselves. You deceive yourselves because you start thinking that I'm right. I'm following Srimad. This is what Baba has taught us. So Maya covers the intellect in that way. And that's why Baba is saying is don't look at anybody, don't think about anybody, just think about transforming yourself. Baba has not given me any authority or any duty to make sure that others are getting transformed. The only duty that Baba has given us is to consider yourself as a soul and remember the Father. This is the only duty that Baba has given me. And share this knowledge with others, right? And not literally share it through words, but I can also share through my behavior, through my character, the way I interact with people, the way I look at them, the respect I give, all of that, right? So sharing knowledge is not just sharing through words, but through my behavior, through my interactions, through my relationships, through my connections, right? That's the only duty Baba has given me. If I am looking at others and I think that my business is to guide others and tell them what to do and how they can transform and look at them and keep pointing out their mistakes, that's not my duty. I have to be very clear of what Baba's asking from me. So Baba says, you are deceiving yourselves. The father says this too is part of the drama. Whatever you see, the drama continues as it did in the previous cycle. Their stage continues to fluctuate. Sometimes they have bad omens over them. Sometimes they do very good service and write to Baba, giving him good news. Their stages continue to fluctuate. Sometimes there is defeat, sometimes there is victory. Pandavas are sometimes defeated by Maya and sometimes they conquer Maya. So Pandavas are the brothers. Baba talks about the brothers. So sometimes the brothers are defeated by Maya, sometimes they conquer Maya. Very good Maharathis also fluctuate, some even die. Therefore, wherever you live, continue to remember the Father and do service. You have become instruments to do service. You are on a battlefield. Those who live outside in households can go ahead of those who stay here. And Baba says this, those who live in the homes can go ahead of those who live at the centers or those who live at Madhuban. So never doubt your capability. Sometimes, some students say, oh, sister, we are not like you. We don't have that stage or no, right? It's when I start doubting myself that the instrument is higher or because they live at the center or because they are from Madhuban, their stage is higher or they have a high status. No, our status is only determined at the end, not now. So now all of us are equal. Even though the instrument is at the center, playing the part of instrument, okay, Baba has made a certain, you know, person as the instrument for that particular center, but they are also effort makers. They are also on this journey. This doesn't mean that their status is higher. So never doubt because God sees everyone equally. He's filling each one of us equally, depending on how much I connect to Him. So if I remember Baba more, I will be filled more. It's all on remembrance. It's all on application of this knowledge. Hmm? It's nothing to do with living at the center or living at home. Hmm? It's just that when you're at the center, the remembrance is a little easier because you are with that awareness that I am, at the center. But we can all make the homes as center, and that's why Baba says, make your home as a center. Create that kind of vibrations at your home. Don't be very lokic at your homes. Become alokik. Now, again, becoming alokik doesn't mean that you talk very indifferently to everyone at home, but you are giving more love. You're using more spiritual virtues. You are showering spiritual virtues on everyone. That is becoming alokik. So Baba says that those who live outside in households can go ahead of those who stay here. There is total war with Maya. Your parts continue second by second as they did in the previous cycle. You say that this much time has gone by and that everything that has happened is in your intellects. All of this knowledge is in your intellects. Just as the Father has this knowledge, so there also has to be this knowledge in this Dada. When Baba speaks, Dada too must be speaking. You know the ones who are good and have clean hearts. Those who have clean hearts climb into Baba's heart. They do not have the nature of becoming like salt water. They always remain cheerful. Their moods never change. There are many here whose moods keep changing. Don't even ask. People say we are impure. They have called out to the purifier Father to come and purify them. The Father says, children, continue to remember me, and your clothes, that is the souls, will become clean. Follow my Shrimat. The clothes of those who don't follow Shrimat don't become clean. Those souls don't become pure. Day and night, the Father keeps emphasizing this. Consider yourselves to be souls. You choke when you become body conscious. The more you ascend, the happier you become and the more cheerful you remain. The Father knows that some children are first class, yet if you look at their internal state, they are melting away. It is as though the fire of body consciousness is melting them. Sometimes from outside, we can show that I am first class, I'm good, everything is good. But inside, I could be struggling with lot of other things. Many times people who commit suicide because of depression, their friends and families say this, that we didn't come to know that they were depressed because they were able to fake it. They were able to um, show that they are happy, everything is fine from outside. But inside, they were struggling. And that's what Baba says when he says that your heart is not clean. When I'm not clean inside out. Hmm, And who can we hide this from? We can't hide this from God. God knows exactly what we are inside out. So Baba says they don't understand where their illness comes from. The Father says this illness comes from body consciousness. Those who are soul conscious will never become ill. However, there are many who continue to burn inside. The Father says, children, may you be soul conscious. Some ask why they have this illness. The Father says this illness of body consciousness is such, don't even ask. And sometimes they're not even aware that they have this illness. That I'm burning inside with jealousy, with anger, with disappointment, with disheartenment. They don't even know this. And if someone tells them, they still don't acknowledge it. No? So Baba says, children, may you be soul conscious. The Father says this illness of body consciousness is such, don't even ask. When someone has this illness, it is like a parasite that doesn't let go. By not following Srimad and by moving along in body consciousness, you will be hurt very badly. Baba receives all the news. Maya catches hold of them by their noses and makes them fall. Their intellects get completely killed. Many develop doubts in this way. You call out to God, come and change those with stone intellects into those with divine intellects. And so, if you oppose God, what would be your state? You would fall completely, and your intellects would become like stone. While sitting here, you children should experience the happiness that student life is the best. The Father asks, if there is there any study more elevated than this one? This is the best. It gives the fruit for 21 births. Therefore, you should pay so much attention to this study. Some don't pay attention at all. Maya cuts off their noses and ears. Why Baba says nose and ear? Because from the face, this is out. Anybody can hold this. This is out, protruding, right? So Maya catches hold of. So Maya, which will catch hold of something that she can grip onto. So the ear and nose. And if you ever see that these are very sensitive as well. If you hold someone's ear and pull them, they cannot resist you too much. If you pull someone's nose and pull them, they can't resist you too much. No? So that's what Maya catches hold of. So Baba says, the Father himself says her kingdom lasts for half a cycle. She catches hold of you in such a way, don't even ask. Therefore, remain very cautious and also caution one another. Remember, Shiv Baba, otherwise Maya will cut off your noses and ears, and you won't then be of any use at all. Many think they will claim the status of Lakshmi and Narayan. That is impossible. They get tired and collapse. They are defeated by Maya and fall into the rubbish. When you see that your intellect is getting spoiled, you should understand that Maya has caught hold of you by the nose. The moment you see that your intellect is becoming spoiled, getting influenced, you think more about someone else, you are getting attracted by things of the world, um, and the first sign of all of this is you will lose interest in this study. The moment you start losing interest in this study, the moment you see that you are missing Murli and you have stopped feeling anything about missing Murli, you know that Maya has caught hold of you. And I was sharing in class the other day that if you see that you have missed Murli and are numb to missing Murli and you're losing interest to this study, immediately call your instrument. You have to call the instrument. You call the instrument because Maya is catching hold of you. So Baba says, there is a great deal of power in the pilgrimage of remembrance. Souls become filled with a great deal of happiness. It is said that there is no nourishment like the nourishment of happiness. When customers continually come to your shop, there is an income. There would never be tiredness at that time. You would not starve. You remain very happy because you are receiving limitless wealth. You should experience a great deal of happiness. You should check, is my behavior divine or devilish? There is now very little time left. It is as though there is a race of untimely death. Look how many accidents, etc., take place. People's intellects have become tamopradhan. When rain comes down with great force, that would be called an accident of nature. Death, too, is about to come. People now believe that an atomic war will soon begin. They do such dangerous work. If they are provoked, the war will begin. We all are standing at the brink of a war. The world is, no? With all the geopolitical scenario in the world. We don't know what's coming tomorrow or even the next moment. So what we have is now. So Baba says, untimely death, anything can happen at any moment. Acha, to the sweetest beloved, long lost and now found children, love, remembrance, and good morning from the mother, the father, Bab Dada. The spiritual father says Namaste to the spiritual children, and the spiritual children say Namaste to the spiritual father. Essence for Dharna. Stay in the intoxication of belonging to the Lord and Master and free yourself. Do not be tied by any bondage. Be very cautious about Maya the mouse. There should never be any devilish thoughts in your mind. Stay in the happiness of receiving limitless wealth of knowledge from the Father. Your intellect must never have doubts and thereby get tired of this income. Student life is the best life. Therefore, pay full attention to this study. Blessing. May you fulfill everyone's hopes as a master bestower of liberation and liberation in life by remaining constantly alert. May you fulfill everyone's hopes as a master bestower of liberation and liberation in life by remaining constantly alert. Let the elevated thought of having to fulfill everyone's hopes emerge in all of you children. People all want to be free from the cycle of birth and death. Therefore, enable them to experience it. In order to do that, change the attitudes of human souls and nature with your powerful Satopradhan vibrations. Become master bestowers and fulfill the hopes of every soul. Give the donation of liberation and liberation in life. Your awareness of this responsibility will keep you constantly alert. So this is my responsibility of giving donation of liberation and liberation in life to everyone. And how can I do that? Baba says, I can do that through my vibrations. I think it was last week that Baba shared how to serve, and the method he said was there were two methods. He said one is when I have the power of yoga. When I have the power of yoga, the knowledge that I share will have that power. No, so the sword will have that power. The arrow will strike, right? Because now there is the power of yoga. And the other was through drishti. Baba says this was, if you remember, this was when Baba said you have to go and serve the Prime Minister or serve, the VIPs and all that. And sometimes we might not have an opportunity to even speak to them. But I can sit there through my vibrations, through my drishti, I can serve them. And again, drishti is of soul consciousness. When I am sitting with in soul consciousness with God in my eyes, I can serve through my drishti. So that's what Baba is saying, that to understand that this is my seva, this is my role, this is the seva, serving everyone, to have mercy on all the souls to fulfill their hopes of attaining liberation and liberation in life. Souls who are looking for liberation, show them the path to liberation, show them the path to Paramdham, to experiencing peace. And those who are looking for liberation in life, which is happiness, show them the path to happiness, peace and happiness. And we can do that. So Baba says, through your vibrations, through your powerful vibrations. Slogan. True gopis and gopis are those who forget all consciousness of their bodies while listening to the Murli of the Murlidhar. If you know the story, when Krishna played the flute, the gopis and gopis would just forget everything, whether they had the dupatta, whether they wore the saris right, whether they were cooking or whatever. They would leave everything and just run towards the Murlidhar. They would run towards Krishna to listen to the flute. They would be just so lost in the Murli, in the flute. So in the same way, God, the Supreme Soul, is playing this flute of knowledge. Murlidhar, the one who's playing the Murli, the flute of knowledge. So while listening to Murli, do I forget all the consciousness of the body and listen to the Murli as a soul? Or while listening to Murli, I'm so distracted and I keep thinking about, oh, my food is cooking, oh, this many whistles, oh, I have to prepare lunch, prepare breakfast for the children, I have to do. If I'm lost in all these bodily activities and all of that, then I'm not a true gopi or a true gop, lost in the Murli, leaving all the body consciousness while listening to Murli. That's the accurate way of listening to Murlidhar Shiv Baba. Cha? Om Shanti. So today Baba is actually he is warning us of the signs of body consciousness, right? Carelessness, jealousy. Jealousy comes from comparison. Jealousy comes from low self-esteem. Jealousy comes when I feel that this one is better than me and they will get all the attention, they might get all the power, I might lose what I have. So this fear of loss, fear of identity, all this is the basis of jealousy. No? Mood swings and not being clean inside out. So let's focus on my self-worth. When I stabilize myself in my self-worth, in my self-respect, I can get over all of this. And the self-respect that Baba gives me is my true worth, is my true self-respect. It's not dependent on my role. It's not dependent on my title. It's not dependent on how much seva I do. It's not dependent on whether I'm a center instrument or whether I'm living at home. It's not dependent on all of this. It's not dependent on how many years of gyan I have. The self-respect that Baba gives me is to I, the soul, God's child. That's my self-worth, that's my self-respect. And through the Murli, Baba gives us so many self-respects. So stabilizing myself and my self-worth is true form of soul consciousness. So never forget how worthy each one of us is, each one of you is, because God has chosen you. Don't have doubt on your self-worth. Never create thoughts of doubt on your success, on your victory, on your stage, of your status. No, let me continue to make efforts, stabilizing myself in my self-respect, in my self-worth, and everything else will happen. Right? So let's remember Baba. Let's stabilize that I am a true gop or a gopi of Murlidhar Shiv Baba, the one who plays the flute of knowledge, the one who comes for me personally to teach me, to reform me, to make me pure. I am a beloved child of the supremely beloved God. Just as Baba is here to serve me, he says, I am your servant. In the same way, I, the soul, am serving through this body. I am a servant of God. I am a servant of the elements. I am the servant of all the other souls. This brings humility in me. At this time of elevated confluence age, this is my seva, to serve through my thoughts, to serve through my vibrations, to serve through my drishti. Om Shanti. Om Shanti. So have a wonderful day. Om Shanti. I'll see you.